3 battles. Sorry, 4 battles. 2 singles and 2 doubles. This is not my greatest showing. This team is all Unova Pokemon, all Gen 5. And I start here with my Galvantula, one of my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon. I named it Jarrell after the creator of the Silver Falls series, because Galvantula is his favorite, so shout out to Jarrell. And I start off here setting up the Sticky Web, trying to get that speed drop on everything that comes in after. I had hoped that Galvantula would last a little bit longer, but I'll take what I can get. But I do get that Sticky Web set up. So then I send in my Chandelure, my favorite Gen 5 Pokemon. And unfortunately, the initial Fire Blast does not hit. And Porygon 2 is also going to run Recover. So this part of the battle right here is obnoxious. It is a stalling competition here. Now I'm going to bet this Porygon 2 has Eviolite, with how little damage it's taking from a powerful same type attack bonus move there, like Thunder with Galvantula and Fire Blast with Chandelure. Now the funny thing here, it's paralyzed my Chandelure, but at no point in my Chandelure's time in this match does it ever actually get stopped by the paralysis. So what you're seeing here is basically how this is going to go for a bit. I alternate between Psychic and Fire Blast, hoping to get a burn for some continuous damage, or a special defense drop for some extra damage on my next attack, and it uses Recover, and we basically just sort of tread water here for a while. I do get a special defense drop here, and that is going to help. What I really should have done, probably, is just use Will-O-Wisp, but I didn't think about that. I kept thinking damage, because my default mindset is Glass Cannon. So, still kind of trading blows here. I finally wise up and just use the Will-O-Wisp. I think I had 1 PP for Fire Blast left. So it's burned now. It'll at least take a little bit of damage every turn, although Recover is going to kind of make that a moot point. And then I can just focus on hitting it with Psychic. Now, it uses Charge Beam to get a little more special attack, but Charge Beam is not a super strong move, and it's not an electric type, so it doesn't do a ton of damage. But fortunately, I get a crit with that Psychic, and the burn is enough to take it out. So finally, the Porygon 2 is down. Had they used Recover that turn, they probably would have lived, but, it is what it is. So now we get Mimikyu. And this is a Pokemon that I think is cool, but the ability frustrates me. If you've used Mimikyu, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. The Disguise it has basically gives it a free hit. Now, I do get some damage through the Disguise with this Will-O-Wisp, because that does not protect it from burn damage, but burn also doesn't break the Disguise. So the first damaging move I use does nothing, because that Disguise takes the damage. And between the Will-O-Wisp I used and that Disguise, it basically gets 2 free Swords Dances. So it's got +4 in attack, and probably should have just gone with an attacking move right off the bat, but I was hoping to get some good damage by getting a Hex hit with the burn, but it has Shadow Sneak. I was not really expecting that. I was expecting like Shadow Claw or something, and that manages to take out my Chandelure. So it does fortunately still have the burn, and I send in my Bisharp. Kind of messed up the editing there. Whatever. Bisharp is holding the Eviolite for some real bulk there, and I also have Iron Defense on it, although you don't see that in this battle. The Dragonite comes out with a Fire Punch, and while that is super effective, that Eviolite bulk and the defense EVs there let me get off that Swords Dance. I'm then going to Terra it. I've got Terra Dark on this, so I can kind of double down on the Night Slash damage and hope for the critical hit there. Now, I know this is not going to do a ton to Dragonite. I know this Dragonite's going to have multi-scale. Pretty much every Dragonite you come across online has multi-scale. But I thought maybe if I can get a crit, I can do some decent damage. And I didn't get the crit, but I still got almost half damage there. Now, the downside of using the Terra Dark is that I have no resistance for that extreme speed, but the strong defense stat comes in and saves me anyway. Second Night Slash does get a critical hit, that takes out that Dragonite. So now they're going to send in this Goldengo. I think Goldengo's a pretty cool Pokemon, but being Ghost type, this is not a good matchup for him with my Bisharp.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
So I take some Rocky Helmet damage, but that Bisharp does go down in one hit. So I'm looking pretty good here so far. You know, it was a little rocky in the beginning, but I'm coming back with the Bisharp. Now, the Ogerpon here does lose some speed there with that Sticky Web, but Bisharp's not a real speedy Pokemon anyway, and it was so weak that anything would have taken it out. That Leech Horn was more than enough to take out that Bisharp. So now I'm sending in my Haxorus, one of my favorite dragon Pokemon. This is another good one for me to Terra, which I may do in a later battle. I don't remember if I ended up Terraing this one or not, but I've got Terra Dragon on it. This is a double down on that dragon type damage. But they use Terra on the Ogerpon. Whenever you see one, that's pretty much always what they're going to do to take advantage of that mask there. Now, I was hoping to take advantage of the fire typing. Not fire typing, sorry, the grass typing to hit it with that poison jab. Didn't happen, but the Dragon Claw is enough to finish it off. So, I guess, you know, all's well that ends well there. So now they're sending in this Hydreigon, and it's not going to go well.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
That was pretty much a speed maneuver there, and my dragon was stronger. Or faster, rather. But that wraps up the win for me. So here in this second single battle, this one does not paint me in the best light. I fell for some pretty obvious feints in hindsight. So, you know, hats off to my opponent for really pulling the wool over my eyes, but this was kind of an embarrassing one because I should have seen some of the traps he was setting for me. I start off here Terraing my Galvantula. I'm hoping I can outspeed it and get a quick Bug Buzz, take advantage of that same type attack bonus with the Terra and its weakness and one-shot that. Unfortunately, I was not counting on it having U-turn, so that completely screwed up my plan. He switches out into a Pokemon that resists Bug-type moves, and that did a big chunk of damage with its the Roaring Moon's high attack stats. So, you know, I kind of wasted my Terra here. I think, okay, you know, let me get the Sticky Web down. I can at least get some speed drops on the enemies going forward. But I really don't have a plan to deal with this Clodsire, and it has set up the stones. Now you see there, I wasted a turn. I am just sort of starting to dip my toes in the water with using entry hazards. It's not something that I usually do. I'm kind of a glass cannon player, if you haven't noticed, but I'm trying to expand a bit. And I didn't know if Sticky Web worked like Toxic Spikes, where you can set up 2 layers, and I thought maybe I can get 2 speed drops instead of 1. Found out the hard way that's not how it worked. Probably should have looked it up on Bulbapedia, but I prefer to learn by doing. So, I can't do anything against that Clodsire. And it switched out for the Torkoal, and as soon as I saw this drought pop up, I knew what it was doing. It's setting up its Paradox Pokemon. And sure enough, when it immediately withdraws Torkoal and sends that Roaring Moon back in, that kind of confirmed it. Love this Pokemon, by the way. Roaring Moon is such a cool little Salamence Paradox. Now, on the one hand, I do get the speed drop here. On the other hand, the Sunlight increases its attack, and because of the yawn, my Galvantula is asleep. And I am a stubborn Pokemon trainer here. I almost never switch out for sleep. I'm like, look, you're either going to power through it and wake up, or you're going to get the death you deserve as a failed warrior. I know, I'm horribly mean to my Pokemon, but I'm just too stubborn. So here I send in my Haxorus. It's done well for me in the past. Takes a little bit of damage from those stones. And again, I'm kind of falling for the trap here. Now, I didn't know he had a fairy Pokemon. I was going to use, as you'll see here, Dragon Claw. Switching into a fairy Pokemon completely nullifies that. So I go for the Poison Jab here. It does not do nearly as much damage as I expected. Knew it wouldn't take it out. The fairy's bulky. I was hoping I would at least get down to half. But it's got eject button, which tells you its whole purpose is to absorb a dragon attack. That is part of his strategy. So switches back into this Torkoal. Again, Sticky Web gets a speed drop, and I think, well, I know he's just going to swap right back out. So let me get a Swords Dance up and try to take advantage of that. But what I should have thought was, the sun's already up. He's not switching in just for that. He's going to actually do something, and sure enough, that Rapid Spin gets rid of the Sticky Web, which I can't set back up because my Galvantula is dead. So I fall for the same thing again, try to use Dragon Claw. He switches back into the Fairy. Like, I deserved this L. Now, between the existing damage and the Swords Dance, giving +2 to attack, I do manage to take out that Clefable, but as soon as that Clefable switched back in, I'm sitting here kicking myself because that plan was so obvious in hindsight. And when I was editing this, I was embarrassed. When I was playing, I was embarrassed. And looking back at it now to record this voiceover, I'm still embarrassed that I fell for that. That is such a rookie mistake, and I fell right into it. And it got the yawn off, so my Haxorus is going to go to sleep, and I'm too stubborn to switch it out. But then here comes the Cinderace, which,
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
yeah, that didn't work too well for him. Cinderace is fast, and it's got some good attack, but it can't really take much. It doesn't have a lot of bulk to it, so I knew I'd be able to OHKO that. Now, here's where everything falls apart. This Venusaur being able to get the growth off in the sunlight, and I'm pretty sure it has chlorophyll, boosting its speed in the sunlight. This sweeps the rest of my team. I am just pitifully trying to take out this Pokemon, and I never do manage it. Pitiful really is the only word for it. So I think, okay, sunlight's up, I've got a fire type, maybe I can either survive a hit or go first. I should have known better. This is really what clued me in.
It's a one-hit wonder!
This is really what clued me in, that it had chlorophyll when it's outsped my Chandelure so easily. But, Chandelure was really like my last bet there. If that didn't take it out, then I knew I was probably not going to win this battle. I kind of resigned myself to defeat here. Not that I was actually going to give up. I'm going to give it a shot. But I was not super hopeful. And I did not expect the Terra Fire. Really, this guy's whole strategy with the way his team's built was really smart and really creative. Took advantage of some tactics I didn't expect. Like, yeah, the Fable swap in, that's kind of obvious in hindsight, but you send out a Venusaur, I would never guess it's Terra Fire and has Weather Ball. Like, that would not occur to me. I would have guessed it to be Terra Grass and taken advantage of Solar Beam. That's what I would have done. So I send in my Volcarona. I'm thinking maybe the fire typing.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Maybe the fire typing can get it down to neutral and survive a hit, but no. And I wasn't surprised. And I knew exactly how this was going to turn out. Bisharp is not fast, and it's double weak against fire.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
It's also double weak against ground, which I think was done as an insult to injury. But, Nico, if you ever see this, good battle. You beat me fair and square. Alright, third battle here is the first of the two double battles. This one, I think I did pretty well. I'm content with my performance here, especially with how stacked their opening is here with the Archaludon and the box legendary. So that Hadron engine ability, you know, it helps its team because both of these Pokemon are kind of electric-based, as you'll see, but it also kind of helps my Galvantula out a little here because it's electric. So again, first thing, I start off with the Sticky Web. It fires off Dragon Pulse. Actually thought that was going to take Galvantula out. I'm glad it didn't. I get the Will-O-Wisp here. I'm trying to set up a Hex. You know, that's going to really crush it with the same type attack bonus, the high special attack stat, and the double damage from the Hex move with its status condition.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Unfortunately, that Electro Drift gets a critical hit on top of the same type attack bonus and being boosted by the terrain, so, you know, RIP Chandelure. Now, I know that my Galvantula is not really going to be able to do much, so what I'm trying to do here is use some Electro Web to get their speed down. You know, make sure that whatever I send in next can outspeed these two Pokemon and not just what come in after. And, you know, maybe whittle it down a little bit with some damage anyway, but I was really trying to set up the speed advantage here. And unfortunately, that Miraidon's losing little by little some health from the burn. And I figure, let's just double down on the Legendary. I don't really have anything I can do against that Archaludon. And I probably didn't need that Bug Buzz, but, you know, I didn't know what else to use it on. And we do manage to take down that Archaludon. So, not Archaludon, sorry, Miraidon. So it always feels good when you take down a Legendary with not Legendary Pokemon. And yeah, I know Hydreigon's a pseudo-legendary, whatever. I barely acknowledge the existence of pseudo-legendary as a separate category. Whatever. So they send in Galarian Slowking. And I love the Galarian Slowbro and Slowking. I think they are way cooler than the Kanto and Johto versions, so I love seeing them come out in a battle.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Someone is a gigantic noob.
And as soon as I manage to one-shot their Slowking, they just wimp out and disconnect. So whatever, I count that as a W for me if I manage to beat you so badly you quit early. But don't worry. I get my karmic retribution by being utterly embarrassed in this battle. This is not a great matchup here. Just like, first off, we've got a fire type and a fighting type against a bug type and a dark type. Not going well for me. Now, I was hoping I could get a quick one-hit kill on this Koraidon by using Dragon Pulse. But not only is it faster, it Terra Fire or fighting, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
And even if it had stayed Dragon, it was not going to live. My Hydreigon was not going to live that collision course, whatever it's called. Just wasn't going to happen. And
gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
Then you get the Skellydirge's Torch Song, and I love Skellydirge largely because of Torch Song. But it is really frustrating to be on the receiving end of that. So I send in the Volcarona here, and I also send in the Chandelure, trying to take advantage of some of this sunlight, get that fire boost, even though I'm really taking a risk with the Skellydirge. I was hoping that they would prioritize the Chandelure and I could get that Quiver Dance up to get some stat boosts. Did not really work out in my favor. But that Psychic does do some heavy damage against that Koraidon. It almost takes it out thanks to the critical hit. Now, we all saw this coming.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
As soon as I sent out a Ghost type against a Ghost type, I knew it was going to use Shadow Ball or Hex or something and take advantage of that weakness. So I sort of do the same thing that I did a battle or two ago and Terra the Bisharp, take away that Steel typing to take away that weakness. Sort of my plan here. And again, sort of double down on the damage of Night Slash. Didn't need much to finish off that Koraidon, but I finished it off with the Bug Buzz so that I could get a neutral hit on this Skellydirge. Or, sorry, not neutral hit, super effective. what am I thinking? Dark versus Ghost, super effective. And it's almost a one-hit. I don't know how it lucked out into surviving, because it did not have a focus sash. But it manages to live, takes out my Volcarona, which was a bummer, but it was on such low health anyway. I was not terribly surprised. So then they're going to send in the King Gambit. Now I don't win here. I'll go ahead and tell you that much. Spoiler alert, I lose. But if you look at how these last few turns go, I think I acquitted myself decently, considering that I play like a stubborn idiot. I really didn't have anything to do against that King Gambit. So, I used the X-Scissor for neutral damage, went ahead and took out the Skelly Dirge so it can't take advantage of the +2 to special attack it has with those 2 Torch Songs. And yeah, that Brick does a ton of damage, but again, by tearing, I took it down to double effective instead of quadruple effective. Little bit of help there, but I'll take what I can get. I love this Blood Moon God, I almost said Archaluna. This Blood Moon Ursaluna, it is one of my favorite newer Pokemon. But man, look at the bulk there. Same type attack bonus Dragon Claw, and a double same type attack bonus Night Slash, and it still survived. And that's how I knew I was going to lose it. So the King Gambit finishes taking out my Bisharp. Haxorus managed to hold on by a sliver after that fairy attack. So I'm going to go ahead and take out this Ursaluna. I knew I was going to lose, but I thought, let me take out as many Pokemon as I can, so I at least don't embarrass myself completely. So I took out the Ursaluna. That Swords Dance does not matter, because a Tackle would take out my Haxorus. But fortunately, thanks to the Sticky Web, I do have the speed advantage. And they send out that Regidrago, and I'm like, yes, let me get a final one-shot kill on a legendary to make myself feel better.
Gone! It's a one-hit wonder!
And sure enough, that Dragon Claw does manage to take out the Regidrago in one hit. And as I knew it would, the King Gambit finishes off my Haxorus with a Brick Break, but like I said, Tackle would have worked. And that was my last Pokemon. That was the end there. I think I did okay. He had 2 left. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.